This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Thursday. Good morning to you. I'm Meredith Berry. Here's what's making headlines on this June 18th. Another deadly night in the Circle City as Indianapolis marks its 100th homicide in just 6 months. This morning, we're talking to community leaders about what they would like to see be done to stop the violence. And a new partnership between the state and the Indiana Black Expo is helping minority business owners. Working for you, details on the program and how you can get help if you're a business owner. And a sit-in at the Indiana State House has protesters shift their focus to women fighting against police brutality, what organizers are hoping their voices and movement will accomplish. But first, we do need to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast. Meteorologist Todd Clausen joining me this morning. And Todd, we're going to have another hot one out there today.
Yeah, back into the mid to upper 80s for us here across the area, Meredith. The good news is, though, even though it's going to be another hot one, the humidity still is pretty low throughout the day today. So what do you need to grab before you go? Well, not much has changed on this graphic, really, over the course of the past week or so. You need to have the sunglasses, the sunscreen handy, and also drink plenty of water if you're going to be out and about. You do not have to worry about having the umbrella because there's no threat of any rain today. You do see some showers there off to our east in Columbus, Ohio, and they are heading in our direction, but they are just going to fall apart. They are running into a lot of dry air that is in place, and that area of low pressure to our southeast has just been sitting there, slowly moving back eastward for the past couple days. But eventually the storms off to our west near Minneapolis and Omaha, that's the cold front that's going to kind of head our way over the weekend, and that's what's going to start to bring some changes to our weather as we work our way into the weekend and beyond. So today it's another dry day from start to finish, 80 degrees already by the noon hour, and then we'll continue to warm to highs anywhere from about 85 to 88 degrees later on this afternoon. Tomorrow potentially 90. We'll talk about that and the next chance of rain that heads our way coming up in just a few minutes. Meredith.
We'll see you then, Todd. We do want to take a quick check at our traffic. This is a live look at I-465 at Ditch Road. A lot of cars and trucks out there for your Thursday morning, but no issues to report in that area. Another night of deadly violence in the Circle City. Metro Police investigating multiple shootings, one deadly. Shortly after 1:30 this morning, officers responded to a call of a person down near 35th and Keystone on the northeast side. When police arrived, they found an adult male with a single gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police tell us they aren't sure where the shooting happened, and right now they are talking to witnesses. This morning's shooting is the latest in a string of gunfire across the city this week. Yesterday, 4 people were killed and at least 13 others injured after a very violent day. Police were called to a shooting outside a West Side apartment complex on Cimarron Trail near 10th and Country Club Road around 9:30 last night. There, officers found one man dead. Another was injured and taken to the hospital. And earlier in the day on the east side, police found a woman shot to death and a man in critical condition on Post Road near 16th Street. Investigators believe the shooting actually happened about a half-mile away near 21st and Post Road. IMPD officers also found 2 men shot to death early Thursday morning just after 1:30 inside of a crashed car near 46th and Arlington on the northeast side. Investigators believe a third person may have been in the car because they found a trail of blood at the scene. Possible motives have not been released in any of these cases. As of this morning, 100 people have been killed in Indianapolis since the beginning of the year, and community leaders say the city is on track to see a record number of homicides by the end of the year. Our Kelsey Anderson spoke with one community leader who says he wants to see the mayor take action.
Reverend Dr. Charles Harrison says, as a city, we are bleeding and we need to take action now instead of waiting for someone else to step up and do something. In the early morning hours Wednesday, 7 people were shot, 2 of them fatally. Community leader Reverend Dr. Charles Harrison took to Twitter saying, Indy is in a public safety crisis. He continued saying, quote, if Black lives matter, then why is there not an urgency about alarming number of Blacks being killed by homicides in Indy? He says, as a parent, he doesn't feel the city is safe for his 2 teenage children.
We need the mayor and all the elected officials to join in with us community leaders, and we need to address this together. Yeah. Our children should not live in this kind of fear. They shouldn't. Our seniors shouldn't live in this kind of fear. None of us should live, in this kind of fear.
Yesterday, 4 people were shot and killed in Indianapolis and another one early this morning, bringing the city's total to 100 homicides this year, a number we didn't see until September of last year. I spoke with Shauna Majors, the city director of community violence reduction, and she says now that COVID-19 restrictions are starting to be lifted, her and her team can safely get back out into the community. They have community outreach events already planned for next Friday. Both Harrison and Major believe the more people that are involved in this fight against violence in the city, the easier the battle will be. For resources on how you can get involved, head over to theindychannel.com. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Now to the latest numbers on the coronavirus outbreak in Indiana. State health officials report 24 new coronavirus deaths. That brings the number of Hoosier deaths to nearly 2,300. The state also confirms 264 new cases of COVID-19. That's down from the last couple of days. Since the pandemic began, 41,013 people in Indiana have been diagnosed with the virus. The positivity rate is now at 11%, a number that's been steadily decreasing over the past few weeks. Stage 4 of Governor Holcomb's Back on Track reopening plan begins tomorrow in Marion County. That means movie theaters, bowling alleys, museums, and zoos can reopen at 50% capacity. Bars and nightclubs can also reopen, and retail stores can open at full capacity. We have more details on Stage 4 on our website, theindychannel.com. Governor Holcomb has announced a new partnership with the Indiana Black Expo. The goal is to increase access to economic and workforce recovery programs for minority employers affected by COVID-19. $500,000 in federal funding will be made available to support minority-owned businesses, entrepreneurs, and communities. The money will also allow IBE to launch a targeted statewide promotional campaign to raise awareness of available resources and funding. In addition to the IBE partnership, the state says small businesses of all types can still apply for assistance through the Small Business Restart Fund and the Federal Paycheck Protection Program. Another demonstration was held last night downtown Indianapolis. This time the focus was on women against police brutality. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning at the Indiana State House with the details. Alyssa, what are these women asking for?
You know what? They're asking for change, Meredith, and dozens of people gathered here yesterday evening working for exactly that, pushing for change and equality. The event was called Saving Our Sisters, and it was a way to honor the Black women who have been fighting for equity and to recognize those who have been lost to senseless violence. Organizers of the demonstration say women have always done the work to get change pushed through. The goal of yesterday's sit-in, to fight for Black women who fight for everyone else, while sparking action for a number of issues Black women face every day.
Whether it be maternal health, mortality, going missing at alarming rates, sexual violence, domestic abuse, and so many other health disparities that we can't even fathom.
And the people here yesterday also calling on lawmakers and community members to help improve the lives of Black women in America. The sit-in was organized by a group called Don't Sleep Naptown. Their mission is to put an end to social injustice. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. The protests happening in the wake of George Floyd's death have helped put $6 million into the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. The organization says those donations will go toward Black-led grassroots organizing groups that are fighting racism. Grants will be administered under contract agreements. Last week, the foundation unveiled a separate $6.5 million meant for its affiliated Black Lives Matter chapters. There is 16 in North America. The organizations are not affiliated with the national network. Chapters can start applying for that money on July 1st. And Todd, it's hard to believe we are almost to July. The temps, though, lead us into that. You know, it feels like it is midsummer already, though.
Yeah, officially arrives on Saturday at 4:43 in the afternoon hours, but you're exactly right, Meredith. It's felt like summer here for a while now with our string of temperatures in the 80s. This past weekend we were in the 70s, but then we jumped right back up into the heart of summer. And temperatures this morning are sitting in the 60s, so it's actually pretty comfortable across the area. And we'll be seeing temperatures in the mid-60s by 8 a.m. There's a little more in the way of cloud cover today, not necessarily so much this morning, but throughout the afternoon hours, we'll see skies go partly cloudy. So that's one little minor difference, but temperatures today will still be topping off in the mid to upper 80s. Anywhere really from 84 to 88 degrees will be your high temperature for the day today. As far as rainfall, we are dry today. We are basically dry as we work our way into the day on Saturday. Late in the day, there could be a spot storm, but better rain chances start on Sunday and then into next week. More on that coming up in your 7-day planning forecast.
Todd, thank you. A blue flu swept through Atlanta last night as a number of police officers called out sick. Straight ahead details on the sick out and reaction from city leaders. And 2 upcoming books that paint the president in unflattering light are sparking legal action from the White House. Up next, details on the fight to keep them from seeing the light of day. We'll be right back.
Don't. All new tonight on ABC.
This morning, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is calling on officers in the city to keep their commitment to their communities. This after several called out sick last night. The call-outs came hours after the Fulton County District Attorney announced 11 charges against former officer Garrett Rolfe, including felony murder. He's accused of shooting Rayshard Brooks in the back after a struggle while responding to a DUI call. The other officer involved, Devin Brosnan, is also facing 3 charges for allegedly stepping on Brooks after he was shot. The 2 officers have until this evening to turn themselves in. Attorneys for both men have said they are not guilty. 2 people once part of President Trump's inner circle are releasing books, and the White House is less than pleased. Barring any legal issues, former National Security Advisor John Bolton's book, The Room Where It Happened, is scheduled to come out next week. And the president's niece, Mary Trump's book, Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man, is expected next month. John Lawrence has more.
John Bolton's book on his time in the Trump administration contains some bombshells.
I think Putin thinks he can play him like a fiddle. I think he sees that he's not faced with a serious adversary here. I don't think he's worried about Donald Trump.
The Room Where It Happened also accuses President Trump of asking China's Xi Jinping for help in winning the 2020 election. Bolton also claims Mr. Trump approved of Xi's regime building concentration camps for Uyghur Muslims. President Trump defended himself Wednesday night and returned a few barbs at Bolton.
He couldn't get Senate confirmed, so I gave him a non-Senate confirmed position where I could just put him there, see how he worked. And I wasn't very enamored.
Justice Department officials say they believe the book contains sensitive material that could endanger U.S. national security and are trying to prevent its release.
John Bolton should know all too well that it's unacceptable to have highly classified information from the government of the United States in a book that will be published.
This isn't the only book battle on the president's plate right now. There's also Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man by Mary Trump, the president's niece. The Daily Beast reports President Trump is considering legal action to prevent that book from getting published. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
President Trump now thinks Colin Kaepernick should get another shot in the NFL. The comments came during an interview with a Sinclair reporter Wednesday. The president went on to say he would, quote, absolutely support Kaepernick getting another shot if he has the ability to play well. The quarterback has been without an NFL contract since 2017 after he began kneeling during the national anthem to protest racism and police brutality. Back then, the president called Kaepernick and others who knelt SOBs and called for their firing. The NFL recently admitted it was wrong not to listen to player concerns, and League Commissioner Roger Goodell encouraged a team to sign Kaepernick. Now to major developments in the helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, and 7 others, including their pilot, Ara Zabayan. The NTSB has released more than 1,000 pages of communications. The report shows Zabayan told air traffic control they were climbing to 4,000 feet, but in reality, they were falling. Investigators say this shows the veteran pilot may have been disoriented in the fog. Leading up to the flight, employees with OC Helicopter and Kobe's driver talked about weather and logistics in a string of text messages. Investigators still have not released a final cause for the crash. This picture is hard to imagine for many NFL fans. Tom Brady wearing a jersey that's not the Patriots. Tuesday, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers released the first images of Brady in his new team's uniforms. The gallery includes 41 pictures of Brady wearing each version of the Bucs jerseys. The 42-year-old was the backbone of the New England Patriots for 20 seasons. During his tenure, the team went to 9 Super Bowls, winning 6 of them. Brady signed with the Buccaneers in March. All right, Todd, how do you think he looks?
He looks, anything's better than being in a Patriots uniform, if you ask me. But after all those battles he had with Peyton Manning here in the playoffs and the regular season, so yeah, he looks different, though. That is for sure. Not used to seeing him there in the different colors. All right, outside right now, we're dealing with quiet conditions as we look ahead into this forecast. We're going to be talking about several things. We're going to be talking about rain chances returning. Finally, we actually could use a little bit of rain. That rain does not return, though, today. And then we're also talking about an increase in temperatures as well as humidity. And then summer officially arrives in this forecast as we get into a Saturday. That is the summer solstice. So your humidity meter here, as we expand it out in the coming days, you'll notice several things, and that we just basically climb up into the humid to very humid category as we work our way here into this Saturday, Sunday time frame. Yeah, I know you see the ups and downs. That's because the humidity is going to change, whether it's during the day time hours or the nighttime hours. But again, the thing you need to focus on here is the peaks in the higher categories. And so as we go into the coming days, we've enjoyed a nice stretch of weather that has been pretty comfortable, even though the temperatures have been warm in the 80s. But that's about to change as we work our way into Friday and more so Saturday and Sunday. Today's still pretty comfortable, 57 in Crawfordsville, 63 in Greenfield as well as Martinsville. And we're at 60 degrees currently in Bloomington, Richmond at 59 degrees, the Monon. Great place to be here once again today, as temperatures will be climbing into the mid-80s with those partly cloudy skies. There may be a period of time, especially this afternoon, where skies go a little more overcast than partly cloudy, and that's due to the storm system off to our east, just trying to throw some clouds back in our direction. But it's this cold front that's off to our west that will eventually get here by the time we get to the end of the weekend. Until then, though, we will be dry. Overnight tonight, we're going back down into the 60s. Tomorrow, we're up to 90 degrees with skies that'll be partly cloudy across the area. And as we look ahead into the weekend, Saturday, it's just a chance of a stray storm late in the day. Do not plan on much in the way of rainfall on Saturday. A high of 91 degrees. It's more humid. Father's Day, a little better chance of scattered storms, and then we'll keep things a little more unsettled as we work our way into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. As far as temperatures, with the added cloud cover and storm chances next week, back closer to the average high of 83. But just kind of prepare yourself here for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as we become a little more uncomfortable weather-wise and those storm chances return. Meredith.
Todd, thank you. A drug that showed positive results in treating adult coronavirus patients is now being tested on children. Researchers are now starting advanced trials of remdesivir in 50 pediatric patients. The drug's maker, Gilead Sciences, says the trials will be done in the U.S. and Europe. They will involve children with moderate to severe cases of COVID-19. The goal is to determine whether the drug is safe and how well it could work. Remdesivir is the only drug that has received emergency approval in the U.S. for treating coronavirus infections. Earlier studies showed it can speed up the recovery of some adult patients. Your blood type may influence how likely you are to get COVID-19 and how sick it could make you. That's according to new research from a team of European scientists. Researchers found people with type A blood are 45% more likely than people with other types to get the coronavirus. They are also more likely to develop severe symptoms. People with type O blood are only 65% as likely to get the infection than people with other blood types. The study also found that genetics play a part in coronavirus risk. They say necessity is the mother of invention, and well, in a new COVID-19 world, 2 business owners in Detroit have created something called the Toad Opener. It's a touchless door opener, so you can open a restaurant or bathroom door with your foot. Nick Moritz and Cliff Wells created the 3D printed design that can easily be installed with a special adhesive. They cost less than $50. Keanu Reeves is auctioning off some one-on-one time with himself, and it's all for a good cause. Coming up, we'll tell you how you can score a Zoom call with the Hollywood icon. And it's officially summer break for the Colts, but the vacation may be short-lived. Our Dave First shows us how the boys in blue are transitioning to training camp. We'll have that story after the break.
With AAA, get a quote and save up to 20%.
You could win a date with Keanu Reeves. The actor is auctioning off a virtual date for the right price, and it's all for a good cause. The winning bid will get a 15-minute Zoom call with Reeves. All proceeds raised will go to Camp Rainbow Gold, an Idaho-based children's cancer organization. The date with the John Wick and Matrix actor was originally valued at $10,000, but as of this morning, Todd, the bidding is at more than $17,000. Pretty incredible, and such a great cause that all that money will go towards.
You've seen a lot of people.
Oh, nope. Good, take it away.
You've seen a lot of people doing that, supporting all these good causes with all these different things. So date with Keanu Reeves. Or there's been ones with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady too. So all right, outside right now, we are dealing with pretty quiet conditions as the sun starts to brighten the sky here on this Thursday morning. You can see as you look from downtown to the north, it's going to be another sun-filled start to our day across the area with temperatures that will climb from the 60s into the 70s pretty quick. We should be into the 70s already by 9 a.m. And then high temperatures eventually this afternoon. They will be topping off in the mid to upper 80s. So about 85 to 86 degrees here in Indy, 88 in Terre Haute, Bloomington, right around 87 degrees. The humidity, though, today still remains fairly low. That is the good news in this forecast, as we are not going to be dealing with that today, but that changes in the coming days. More on that coming up in just a little bit.
Easy, even Petey can do it.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
More gunfire overnight, marking a grim milestone in the Circle City. Now at 5:30, what community leaders say is behind the violence. Plus, the call to end police brutality continues here in Indiana and across the country. This morning, why downtown demonstrators say this is just the next step in the call for equality. 5:30 here on your Thursday morning. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrick. Meteorologist Todd Clausen is standing by live from his home studio. And Todd, we need to know what the weather is going to be like today.
You know, it's going to be a good day for us, Meredith, just like it has been the past couple of days. We're going to feature temperatures in the 80s. The humidity's still pretty low throughout the day today, and the winds, they'll be fairly light. The sky's starting to brighten already on this Thursday morning, as you see there in the center of your screen on the RTV 6 Weather Now camera network. As you look from the Salesforce Tower in downtown Indianapolis to the north, 59 in Zionsville, nice and comfortable up there in Boone County, 60 in Bloomington, down in Monroe County, Indy at 66 degrees, and Monticello, you're currently at 61. So we're dealing with mainly clear skies this morning, but you do notice some clouds off to our west that are going to try to back into central Indiana from east to west. And just like we've seen the past couple days, we'll turn partly cloudy later on this afternoon, but we will remain completely dry. That is the good news. So as you plan your day out, just plan for plenty of sunshine and warm temperatures. 80 degrees already by the noon hour, on our way up to high temperatures today, Meredith. That'll be topping off anywhere from about 85 to 88 degrees.
Todd, thank you. Let's take a live look at our Traffic Now camera. This is a shot of the skyline. As you can see, a look from I-70 at Rural Street, Keystone Avenue. Traffic moving along just fine to start your Thursday morning. New overnight, Metro Police say a man is the latest victim of deadly gunfire in the Circle City. The latest shooting happening around 1:30 this morning near 35th and Keystone. Officers say they were called to the area on reports of a person down. When they arrived, they found the victim with gunshot wounds. Officers say while overall crime is down, homicides are up, which is hard to explain.
Oddly enough, our violent crime overall is down quite a bit, but our homicides are it's just hard to explain the difference and violent crime overall being down, but that one area. And it's because people are using a handgun for their mouth.
And this morning, police say they are still talking to witnesses in this latest homicide. The latest death overnight marks 100 homicides in Indianapolis since the beginning of the year. Working for you, our Kelsey Anderson spoke with one community leader who says he wants to see the mayor take action.
Reverend Dr. Charles Harrison says, as a city, we are bleeding and we need to take action now instead of waiting for someone else to step up and do something.
And it's not just a black problem. This is an Indianapolis problem.
Reverend Dr. Charles Harrison has always been vocal with his concerns of violence in the Circle City. Yesterday, after 2 people were killed and 5 others were shot in the matter of just a few hours, Reverend Harrison took to Twitter saying Indy is in a public safety crisis. And going on to say in another tweet, Indy, the tragic reality is we may be at 100 homicides by the end of this week. I am not happy because over 70% of the homicide victims are black, and there does not seem to be an urgency of the moment.
You know, and to me, there seems to be a devaluation or devaluing of black lives. And you know, if we're gonna, which we rightly should, you know, be concerned about police brutality and police misconduct that is claiming the lives of blacks, we also have to be very concerned about what we're seeing in these neighborhoods where we're seeing an escalation of violence among young blacks.
In total, 4 people were killed in Indianapolis yesterday, and another person was killed this morning, bringing the homicide total to 100, a number we didn't see last year until September. He's calling on the mayor and other city officials to take action.
I know the mayor is very concerned, chief of police, myself, we are very concerned. The community is extremely concerned.
Shauna Majors, the city's director of community violence reduction, says now that COVID-19 restrictions are beginning to lift, her and her team can safely get back out into the community. Starting next week, they will kick off some of their programs. They have an event next Friday at Martin University and a panel discussion on domestic violence resources next Saturday. Majors tells me they are also kicking off their Safe Summer Saturdays a little earlier than usual.
Which means we get out into the community on Saturday nights downtown and various spots around the city that are, you know, considered high traffic area for our youth and our young people to try to engage them, get them involved in some mentoring programs. School is out now officially, so we definitely want to try to provide some more activity for our kids to get involved with.
Major says right now they are taking applications for new community organizations to work with them and help curb this violence in our city. For more information on how to get involved, head over to theindychannel.com. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Violence in the city often increases over the summer, so many local organizations are working together to prevent that, especially when it comes to young people. That includes ML and TRIP Mentoring Outreach Center on the Northeast side. The organization just started a youth employment initiative. Kids in the program will beautify the center's grounds on North Sherman Drive and eventually help start a community garden. The center's co-president says the goal is to help keep young people out of trouble now and in the future.
Teach them different life skills and different skills that they can use for a lifetime. They'll be able to support their families and make better decisions and do a lot better for themselves.
Participants will earn a bi-weekly stipend thanks to grant money from the Central Indiana Community Foundation. Here at 536, dozens of people gathered at the State House yesterday to push for change, this time specifically for black women. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning with those details. Alyssa, what are those demonstrators asking for?
You know what, they're asking for change, Meredith, and something that we've noticed at many of the demonstrations across Indianapolis throughout the past several weeks is a lot of these demonstrations have been led by black women. And yesterday's demonstration was a way to spark change for those women who are constantly working to make change for others. That organization group, Don't Sleep, organized the rally at the State House. The demonstration, a way to recognize black women who are fighting for equity and remember those who have been lost to senseless violence. They also want to spark action for a number of issues Black women face on a daily basis, like maternal health mortality, sexual violence, domestic abuse, and health disparities. Organizers say women have always been on the front lines when it comes to getting change pushed through.
A lot of the times we're the ones who are lifting the paperwork. We're the ones going up in the State House asking representatives for meetings. A lot of the times we're the ones who are out fighting, going up to police stations, begging for our Black men to be let out of jail off of senseless crimes. Yet we're lost.
The group calling on lawmakers and community members to help improve the lives of Black women, in America. And the group's overall mission is to put an end to social injustice. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. Protesters with Indy 10 Black Lives Matter also organized a peaceful protest. This time it was geared towards families. They drew messages in chalk honoring the lives of Drejon Reed and Mikhail Rose in front of the Indy Police Union headquarters. The two young Black men were shot and killed by IMPD officers within hours of each other. Protesters say peaceful demonstrations will continue to pop up around Indianapolis until all the details in the deaths of Reed and Rose are revealed to their families and the public. Now to the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic in the Hoosier State. The number of total cases in Indiana has now surpassed 41,000. The Indiana State Department of Health is reporting 24 new deaths and 264 new cases of the virus. 2,289 deaths in Indiana are now blamed on COVID-19. Marion County continues to have the most cases at more than 10,800. With that, Mayor Joe Hogsett announced last week that the county will begin stage 4 of reopening tomorrow. That means movie theaters, bowling alleys, museums, and zoos can reopen at 50% capacity. Bars and nightclubs and retail stores can open at full capacity. We have more details on stage 4 on our website, theindychannel.com. Governor Eric Holcomb says schools in Indiana will not see their state funding cut due to COVID-19. The state is expecting a revenue shortfall of more than $1 billion this year alone. Higher education schools are getting cut by about 7%, but K through 12 will be spared. Holcomb says the state will be moving forward with the current budget, which includes a $183 million increase in K through 12 funding. He says they're able to do this because the state has responsibly managed money over the past few years.
This just illustrates or underscores the priority and the importance that we place at this very foundational level, that we were able to arrive here, and how important it has been that we have prudently managed our state, fiscally speaking, through the good times and the tough times.
Holcomb says he hopes this helps district leaders have some certainty as they prepare for the future. Turning now to Democracy 2020, Democrats have selected their nominee for Indiana Attorney General. The party named former Evansville Mayor Jonathan Weinzapfel as nominee in a virtual press conference. The 54-year-old beat out longtime state Senator Karen Talion for the nomination. The Republicans will begin voting on their selection next week through July 9th. Candidates include Republican incumbent Curtis Hill, former U.S. Representative Todd Rokita, Decatur County Prosecutor Nate Harder, and Indianapolis Attorney John Westerkamp. Here at 5:41, Todd, we got to know, what is the weather going to be like when we walk out the door?
You know, it's not bad, Meredith. Temperatures are pretty comfortable out there. The humidity is still low, so if you're thinking about a workout or a run or jog or a walk through the neighborhood this morning, not a bad option for you to take, as temperatures, they will be sitting here in the 60s, eventually climbing up into the 70s as we get into the 8-9 o'clock hour, and then we'll see these temperatures continue to warm. Sunrise is at 6:17 this morning. If you're heading to the pool, temperatures today will be topping off in the mid to upper 80s across the area with a very high UV index. So your burn time is only about 10 to 15 minutes, so make sure you have that sunscreen on. But overall, a very nice day for us today. Tomorrow, we'll start to heat things up. Potentially the first 90-degree temperature of the year. More on that coming up in just a few minutes. Meredith.
Todd, thank you. We are learning more about the deadly helicopter crash killing Kobe Bryant. After the break, why new documents say the chopper's pilot may have been disoriented by the weather. Plus, Facebook is rolling out a massive new campaign. Ahead this morning, the reason the company hopes it'll steer you to the ballot box. We'll be right back after this break.
Bouncy skin. Neutrogena.
This morning, there are new details emerging from the helicopter crash killing basketball legend Kobe Bryant and 8 others. In preliminary documents detailing the investigation, the National Transportation Safety Board says weather and visibility were a concern. Leading up to the flight on January 26th, both the pilot, Ara Zaboyan, and the flight coordinator dismissed weather concerns. Documents also suggest before the chopper crashed into a hillside near Los Angeles, Zaboyan appeared disoriented by fog. The documents are not the final report in the case, which will determine the exact cause of the crash. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is rolling out fresh sanctions on Syria this morning. The economic and travel sanctions target Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, his wife, and inner circle. The penalties are the result of legislation called the Caesar Syria Civilian Protection Act. Experts believe the new sanctions will be a heavy blow to a country where more than 80% of the people live in poverty. The U.S. hopes the move will drive the Syrians back to the United Nations bargaining table and end the ongoing conflict. A hero's welcome home for the crew of the USS Harry S. Truman. The ship is back at the Naval Station in Norfolk, Virginia after 7 months at sea. On Friday, we highlighted 2 Hoosier sailors aboard that ship. The Truman was supposed to return from the Middle East in April, but it remained at sea to protect the crew from coronavirus.
It was definitely the right call. The ship was and remains COVID-free.
Commanders say the ship, aircraft, and equipment will now undergo any needed maintenance. All right, here at 5:47, Todd, I like the look of that goose egg behind you.
Yeah, no 90-degree days so far this year, Meredith. But that may change as we get into Friday and Saturday. Today, we will not get to 90 degrees, but usually we see 15 90-degree days a year for the city of Indianapolis, and a lot of those come in August. So this isn't something that is totally unnormal across the area. But here, as we progress throughout the end of June, it is going to continue to start to warm up a little bit, I think, and become a little more uncomfortable the latter half of the month here compared to this week that we've seen, with also the low humidity that has been around. But with the lack of rainfall and the dry conditions, I know I watered my lawn yesterday, and so you probably need to do it today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Once we get to Sunday, a little better chance of some storms across the area. As we go throughout the day, the storms will be a little more scattered in nature compared to on Saturday, when they're just going to be very, very spotty, primarily late in the day. Live look outside right now from downtown off towards the east, and if you've been in eastern locations the past couple days, that's where more in the way of cloud cover has been. There's been a stubborn area of low pressure just off to our east that has been throwing a few more clouds in your direction, but it's still been a decent stretch of weather with the low humidity and the partly cloudy skies. 60 in Bedford and Bloomington right now, 57 in Crawfordsville, 61 in Tipton, as well as Muncie. And as we go throughout the course of the rest of today, here's where our high temperatures are going. Our normal high is 83, so keep that in mind. Near 90 today in Lafayette, as well as Crawfordsville. 87 the high temperature in Logansport, near 88 in Terre Haute, about 87 in Bloomington, then in and around the metro area. Temperatures anywhere from about 85 to 87 degrees. So everybody's just within a couple degrees of each other once again this afternoon. I mentioned the cloud cover in eastern locations, and you can already see a little more in the way of clouds near Richmond. So let me expand out for you, and I'll give you the bigger picture. Here's this stubborn area of low pressure that's just been sitting there the past couple days, or slowly moving actually back off to the west. We've been dealing with the counterclockwise rotation, bringing some clouds and a few showers. Eventually, the cold front that is off to the west here is going to kind of kick all this off towards the east, and that is going to start to bring the changes into our forecast. So today we are dealing with temperatures in the 80s, partly cloudy skies, eventually falling into the 70s later on this evening. Overnight tonight, temperatures get back down into the 60s. Tomorrow, a high of 90 degrees with the humidity coming up a smidge. It's not terrible tomorrow, but I think you really notice the humidity on Saturday, and then especially on Sunday for Father's Day. With that added humidity and the heat that will be around, temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees, so it becomes a little more uncomfortable. And starting primarily Sunday onward, you're probably, if you're running errands, going to have to keep the umbrella in the car. Meredith?
All right, Todd, thank you. Facebook wants you to get out and vote. The social media platform has announced the largest voting information information campaign in American history. There will be a new voting information center that will be prominent on Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger, encouraging and reminding people to vote. It will provide users with accurate information about how to register to vote, how and when to vote, along with voting by mail and early voting. There will also be posts from state election officials and verified local election authorities. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said the goal is to get 4 million people to register. If fettuccine, lasagna, or bruschetta sound like a great dinner option, Beech Grove has just the place for you. After the break, meet the family that has been serving it up there over the course of 7 decades. We'll have that after the break.
Premium. Click or call today.
This morning, we continue our We're Open Indy series with another long-standing family restaurant. This one has been serving up old world Italian classics for nearly 60 years. As our Brad Brown explains, they've grown quite the extended family in Beech Grove.
In the heart of Beech Grove's Main Street, a taste of classic Italian is also a taste of the past. Napoli Villa has been holding up this corner since 1962. Guarino Cento immigrated to the States from Italy, opened the original restaurant in what is now the bar area.
My dad was a chef, and he just loved to create dishes. And his specialty was to walk in the dining room with a new dish and just give sample to the customers. And I used to tell Dad, you're giving too much food. That's okay, they like it.
Antoinette and her brother John carried on the traditions of great sauce and great service.
We feel proud to be able to continue it after that he retired.
She has been such a rock of this business for such a long time and a presence in this neighborhood that they associate Napoli with my mom.
Now it's Carmelina and her brothers, a third generation of family serving families.
I think people always feel welcome, genuinely being attentive to, and they love coming here.
The menu features some of Guarino's original 60-plus-year-old recipes that have certainly stood the test of time. The pizza and lasagna have been popular from the start. There are also some new takes on familiar flavors.
If you think about all those great times in your life, it always kind of gravitates towards a meal or food, and that's kind of our focus. We've always kind of been that comfort food in the Italian food realm.
The Napoli family was able to navigate some tricky times this spring, but continued to get strong support from their neighbors.
It's almost like an extended family. Our customers are just, they're as invested as we are in this community.
Now they're enjoying the chance to welcome those friends back to the table.
It's been a very pleasure. My parents would be very proud if they were here.
Working for you in Beech Grove, Brad Brown, RTV6.
Todd, I don't know about you, but I will order one of everything. That all looks so delicious.
Yeah, I'll split it all with you, Meredith. There goes Brad Brown again, always 5:50 something in the morning, getting us all hungry. And then we got to wait till the afternoon and evening for dinner. But, oh, that looked really, really good. All right, pretty good forecast for us, Meredith, here as well today, as we'll enjoy a good amount of sunshine. You see that already in the center of your screen as you look from IMS towards downtown Indianapolis. 58 in Monticello, 65 in Indy, so very comfortable temperatures. But now that the sun is coming up, we will start to see our temperatures warm very, very quickly. We'll end up around 86 in the city. Some areas, though, today up to 88, 89 degrees with the partly cloudy skies. Better chances of 90 degrees for the weekend. We'll talk more about that forecast coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:57. We're back in just a couple minutes.